Schön, dass ihr da seid. Die ersten haben sich ja schon in den Raum verirrt und wollen ein bisschen der Schnackerei zuhören, vielleicht auch teilnehmen, je nachdem, wie es aufzieht. Ich freue mich auf jeden Fall hier sehr, dass ihr da seid. Wir haben natürlich auch jede Menge Programm, nicht nur hier, auch im Raum gegenüber Unternehmen. Wir haben gerade schon ein bisschen darüber diskutiert. Es ist manchmal ein wenig schwer zu finden, aber im Prinzip sind alle Diskussionen, alle spannenden Panels sind entweder hier oder eben da drüben. Wenn ihr wissen wollt, was genau wann wo ist, dann guckt einfach auf die Screens, die draußen hängen. Da läuft den ganzen Tag das Programm. Da könnt ihr genau einsehen, was ihr euch angucken könnt und auch solltet. Wir wollen aber gar nicht viel Zeit verlieren, weil wir wie gestern und auch morgen ein pickepackevolles Programm haben. Ich habe hier schon, es sind eigentlich gar nicht meine Gäste, ihr selbst seid eure eigenen Gäste. Ich überlasse euch auch gleich die Bühne. Ich sehe nämlich hier zu meiner Linken Jordan Woodward, er ist Lead Level Designer bei Rebellion und meinen guten Freund und nicht ganz Kollegen, wir treffen uns sehr oft auf Talks und solchen Veranstaltungen, Martin Woger von Eurogamer, und sie sprechen ein bisschen über Zombie Army 4, A Fireside Talk. Ich bin sehr gespannt, was da jetzt kommt. Also hört zu, beteiligt euch und wahrscheinlich, die Leute können auch Fragen stellen am Ende so? Jederzeit, wunderbar. Die Bühne gehört euch und einen donnernden Wachwertapplaus an diesem Samstag auf der EGX. Viel Spaß! Jawohl.
So, I think we want to start with Rebellion itself, with Rebellion software. It's not exactly an unknown, but it's not an Activision either, like I just told you. And maybe you want to start going a bit about the history of that started actually with quite a bang on the Atari Jaguar back then.
Sure, yeah. So, like you said, yeah, Rebellion I think is a growing company. So yeah, we've had a long history with starting with the Atari Jaguar. Games like Alien vs Predator. We've come a long way since then, and we've moved on to Sniper Elite and now Zombie Army. We have our own game engine as well, Azura, which all of our games are developed on. Yes,
define all, because the company had a lot of games back then.
For instance, now we're developing Evil Genius, which is a strategy game, management sim. We've got a zombie third-person shooter and Sniper Elite, which is a World War II third-person shooter stealth game as well, and some other things I can't talk about. But yeah, there's a wide range of titles now covered on the same game engine.
So you're going back to a lot of games being in development, because at some point in the company came Sniper Elite, that was quite a success then. But during all the time you developed a lot of conversions and let's say lesser games, and then came Sniper Elite V2, and after that you were basically the sniper guys.
Yeah, I suppose so. So I think V2 was probably the start of the bigger hits for us, and that's now kind of the backbone, I guess, of the company, and it's what we're most recognized for, I suppose. That's kind of also led into the spin-offs of the Zombie Army series as well. So Sniper Elite 1 and 2 created the spin-offs of Zombie Army 1 and 2 as well. And I think the franchises have naturally developed since then.
Doesn't feel a bit weird because you're now doing a remake of you have made a remake of Sniper Elite V2 on the same engine you did the original. So didn't somebody think at some point, well, we should have been at another engine by now probably? Or does it just feel right?
I think it feels right for us. Our engine has kind of been developed over time for our company, and it works really well for us. So, like, we're able to kind of go to the tools team at any time and ask them for features which suit the projects we're making, which helps us develop the games quite quickly.
How similar is the engine still? Is it still recognizable as the old engine, or is it basically...
It's kind of before my time, really, but even when I joined Rebellion, the engine it's recognizable, but it's a lot more features now in the engine than there were before, and we're keeping an eye on industry standard engines to make sure we are keeping up. I think basically it's familiar to people who have used Unreal Engine 4, so we're able to recruit talent which can use our engine quite intuitively if they've used industry standard game engines.
Isn't it harder to find new people with your own engine?
I don't think so. I think especially with the indie development culture, there's a lot of people now who are experimenting with tons of different game engines. I'm finding that a lot of people have used probably Unity and Unreal Engine and maybe CryEngine or something as well. So people are quite used to learning new engines quite quickly now. So I think people are quite comfortable with learning new engines, and Azure is quite intuitive, I think. Yeah.
Do you give it to other studios as well if they ask for it, or is it just an in-house thing?
No, our engine is just in-house for us. Yeah.
Ever thought about going public with it?
It's probably a question I can't answer, but it's not something I've heard of as looking into. But yeah.
I've noticed Rebellion isn't just only into games. You acquired a few studios, but you're also dabbling in some weird old comic stuff. And
yes.
you founded a TV studio, and what's that about?
It's
Zombie Army movie, when it's coming?
Well, yeah, maybe. But yeah, so it's a really exciting time to be at Rebellion. Rebellion has all sorts of things going on right now. We've got all sorts of departments, like a board game department, comic books, like you mentioned as well, 2000 AD, and there's tons of IP there as well, like Judge Dredd, Rogue Trooper, Strontium Dog, loads of fan favorite IPs in 2000 AD, and yeah, expanding into film as well, which is really exciting. It's just a really exciting time to be at Rebellion with all the different kind of geeky culture things going on at Rebellion, yeah.
Doesn't feel a bit like a rerun of the early 2000s for Rebellion, where you had all kinds of stuff going on, Judge Dredd license as well, with not so critically acclaimed games, and then scaling it completely back when you hit it with Sniper? Isn't there a danger that this will replay all within the next 5 years, or what is different this time?
I don't think so. I think we've had a lot of success with our kind of, I guess, main brand titles like Sniper Elite and Zombie Army. Like Zombie Army Trilogy was hugely successful for us as well. I think they allow us to be able to experiment with our smaller IPs, I guess, and the whole 2000 AD IP collection we've got as well. So I think that like Rebellion's in a good place to basically have a lot of toys to play with and experiment. Yeah.
And the money for that basically came from Sniper and Zombie Army. And Zombie Army Trilogy, it was successful, it sold, but it wasn't that critically acclaimed, let's put it that way. It did all right. But what did you take away from those first two spin-offs, DLCs, and the third game, now going into Zombie Army 4?
So I guess we basically, going into Zombie Army 4, we've basically taken all the things that our fans like about the game, the previous games, and the Sniper Elite series as well, and tried to make a really polished third-person zombie shooter. And also taking the experience of the development team from our other titles, such as Strange Brigade and the Sniper Elite 4 team. A lot of the Zombie Army 4 team worked on Sniper Elite 4 or Strange Brigade or Zombie Army Trilogy as well. So there's a lot of experience there in the development team. So yeah, that kind of carries across onto Zombie Army 4, and I think a lot of that is seen in Zombie Army 4 as well.
From the feel I get from Zombie Army 4, Strange Brigade seems to be a much bigger influence than the previous title, aside from, well, Nazis and zombies. Because you have the co-op, you have the larger areas where you explore for loot and new ammunition and stuff like that. It feels very much like Strange Brigade. Is that a formula you're now saying, well, that kind of works for us as a co-op shooter instead of
I guess so.
regular
I think at the heart of Zombie Army, the Zombie Army 4, the aim was always to basically make the sequel to the trilogy, and make a game our fans would recognize and feel familiar with and enjoy in the same way they enjoy Zombie Army Trilogy. But we've taken a lot of what we learnt from Strange Brigade as well, and some features from our other franchises like Sniper Elite and Strange Brigade that our fans like. So with Rebellion, I think it's all about basically doing a lot of fan research and seeing what people are asking us for and trying to give our fans what they want, really.
And what are those core elements that the fans want?
To talk specifically about some of the features we've found that people liked in the other franchises. Strange Brigade, particularly traps. You could shoot these points on traps that would affect the environment and kill mummies in Strange Brigade. And we have traps in Zombie Army 4 as well, which you can use to kill zombies.
I've noticed yesterday when my colleague shoot those traps while I was standing on them. Yeah, that's how we learned they were there. Quite fun.
Yeah, so you can use the traps, the environmental traps, to kill your friends as well. Well, I say friends loosely, I guess. But
So it seems.
yeah, so that's one example, I guess. And from Sniper Elite, obviously the bullet cam, which is a massive fan favorite, and it's almost a staple of our games at this point. Like, people recognize a Rebellion game almost by that USP, that X-ray
I have
bullet
to be
cam.
honest with you here. I find it super annoying because it's a break in the action. And
I guess the good thing is, I mean, especially in Sniper Elite 4, you can toggle that, so you can turn it off completely. Or
and I did.
yeah. So again, I think it's the way we kind of develop games at Rebellion. It's all about options. It's all about choice. We have a wide breadth of players that play our games, and really it's about giving players the choice on how they play our games. Yeah.
You're a level designer, and this is a co-op shooter where you have one person you can kind of control what he's doing, what he's having as options.
Yeah.
With 4 people running around in a semi-open stage, what are the challenges? How do you scale that for 4 vastly different types of players running around?
It's a big challenge, but we learned a lot from Zombie Army Trilogy, and so I guess one of the staples of the design is everyone has a rifle and everyone has a secondary weapon. That kind of separates us a little bit, I think, from other zombie shooters, in the way that we kind of force everyone to use a rifle, which means we have this rule as a design rule already from the start, that we need to make sure that we are catering for rifle players and people who want to get up close and personal with shotguns or SMGs as well. So I think in the level design, that's reflected by making sure we have enough vantage points, like using verticality to make sure we allow snipers to cover their co-op partners in most siege scenarios. And then basically making sure that those positions aren't just too powerful, that people could stay there forever.
Did you notice that snipers were more successful in the game, or close combat? Because I just played close combat. I got my shotgun. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I played it like a Doom.
I mean, that's...
And
yeah.
it kind of worked. I never really got the feel that I needed the rifle. Did I do something wrong, or...?
No, not really. So that's completely viable again. It goes back to allowing people to play the game in any way they want, and we have to try and cater for that as well. So we're using our perk system and upgrade system. You can tailor your character and weapons into your playstyle. So if you're using shotguns or SMGs more, you can put your upgrades and perks into skills that allow you to get more up close and personal, things that allow you to take less damage when you're close to zombies, or your shotguns to do different types of damage or more damage, whereas otherwise you could upgrade your rifle, which would do more damage, or for example.
What I noticed in this game and the other zombie armies too is when you use the rifle, it seems to be very stable when you're firing. It's not like in Sniper where you have
the recoil.
The recoil, and here it feels very arcadey and very honest. To be honest, weak. I found the rifle not to be very satisfying.
I think that's maybe there's a little bit of Strange Brigade influence there, but really I think we take most influence from the previous Zombie Army games. So the recoil thing, I guess in the Sniper Elite series, the weapons are supposed to feel, the rifles especially, are supposed to feel kind of more authentic and more challenging to use, I guess. Whereas in Zombie Army 4, it's a little bit of a faster paced game, and we want to keep the player shooting. You've got to crowd control. So I guess the recoil has to be a bit less with something like Zombie Army to allow you to crowd control quicker.
Here you have a very straightforward level design. It was more open in Strange Brigade, I think, where you could run around a little bit more, but here it felt still dynamic enough with the trains crashing in and stuff happening and you have to move forward. How often can you use those tricks within the level design, and what kind of tricks are those?
Yeah, so I guess at the minute we've only shown our demo level off, which is a more gradual introduction into the game. It's probably more linear than most of the areas you've seen so far, because it's a slower introduction into the game. There are some areas in the game later on which are much larger and bigger siege scenarios, and introducing more enemy types that utilize the space more. So I think players will probably see that in the future when we reveal a bit more.
Do you have new zombies that are coming in later on, or
there are
zombie types you could reveal now?
definitely. Yeah. So there are a lot more zombie types than there were in Zombie Army Trilogy.
What?
I can't say.
Oh, come on. One. Give
But
us one.
you've seen the Suiciders in the demo, and you've seen the Flamer mini boss. I think we've revealed a couple in screenshots as well, such as the Butcher with the chainsaw. So the flamethrower like mini boss, I guess, for Flamer Elite will close ground quickly on the player. He'll sprint with a flamethrower to try and get close, and then deal lots of damage. The Suiciders as well will sprint across a large open area really fast and then explode, so they'll deal high damage in a small area. So we've got a lot of enemy types at our disposal to utilize in the larger open spaces as well, and there's some we haven't shown yet as well.
Since we're talking about stuff you can't talk about, is Hitler coming back?
I
From
can't.
hell, obviously.
I think we've shown some stuff in our trailers,
Yeah,
but I
there's
can't talk too much
something-
about the story.
A little bit. You have those new perks where people have supernatural powers now, I think. You can call it that.
I suppose,
does
yeah.
it tie into the story at some point? Do you expand
Yeah,
more
I
on
guess
that
so.
stuff and go more into a Strange Brigade direction?
I think that is expanded in the story somewhat, yeah. But you'll have to play and find out, really. But I can kind of talk about the vibe of the game in general and the tone. So it's kind of a lot of the story is based around this occult universe, and that was seen in Zombie Army Trilogy as well. So it's less sciencey and more occult. Yeah.
It's more horror vibe than the past.
Yeah, it's more horror vibe. It's more cult horror, like B-movie style. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt really nice. So honestly, yeah, maybe give it a try. Anybody, any questions to Zombie Army, which I haven't thought about, please? Sorry.
So what's the setup? Is the one level designer and level artist sitting together working on one level, or is it like a library of assets, or how is it done exactly?
It is exactly what you said first. It's a level designer and an artist sitting together and working side by side to develop the level. So the process essentially is we'll start with pre-production of the level. So we'll get the level designers to sit together and come up with a core theme and concept and objectives for the level. The level designer will then sit with the artist over the level and come up with mood boards and collect references together, and then we'll start white boxing the layout basically, or grey boxing, and then from there we'll eventually move on to an art pass after a lot of play testing back and forth. So yeah, the setup is they'll sit right next to each other, so we have high communication constantly throughout the project.
And the second question is a long shot. What's the chance of Rebellion doing another Alien vs Predator, because the 99 version is still one of the scariest, best FPS with aliens involved?
I mean, I would personally love to, but it's not a question I can answer.
Thought so.
Well, anybody else? No? Well then, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
You too. Thank you.
And yeah, you should go have a look for yourself. It's actually fun.
We've got 6 PlayStations set up in the hall. If you'd like to come across and play, you can play in 1 to 4 player co-op. And if you have any questions, please just feel to ask. Great, thank you.